Good morning and welcome to Blackstone Chronicles, broadcasting from Blackstone, Virginia, the center of the world. You know it, but you too are the center of the world. One day I'll talk about that. Today's talk is from mini balls to mime balls, or memes. Do you know what this is? That's heavy too. That's a mini ball. In the Civil War here in Virginia, the sky was full of mini balls. They were like they were like bees, like gnats, like a hail of lead. And they're said that the soldiers would lean over into the wind, like they would lean into the mini balls like it was a wind, and they would lean into it and walk into the mini balls. It's amazing. And so I have this hanging by my desk, and I don't know where I got it. But so today I was writing about this morning. My first post was I posted a little banner from mini balls to mime balls. and I know, and I could see that the first Civil War was a regional war of local gods. There was the region of the South and its gods and its God and its values, and there was a region of the North and its say God or value. They're about the same thing. God is basically what you value the most. So it's a value that you hold most dearly, you could say, is your God. So it's a regional war. They dressed differently. They lived in different places. They had different accents. And it was the America was split into two regions, and there can only be one. So when the one is split into two, they're going to go around and around like two tomcats, because there can only be one dominant tomcat in the yard. There can only be one tomcat in every yard. Can't be two. So when the yard is split with two tomcats, there's going to be civil war. And it increases. If you notice about civil wars, and this was the thing about the American Civil War, which perplexed everybody. They thought it would be just one battle and that would be it. Everybody would go home. But the tomcats kept fighting. And as they fought, it grew in intensity and fury. It grew in fury. There's a movie, The Fury, about tank warfare. I love that movie, The Fury. And there's nothing more ferocious than a civil war, because the country is divided. So if we look at it psychologically, like from the beginning, all beings are Buddha. So from the beginning, so if you are the center of the world, if you are the center of the world, you are the one. When you are divided into two viewpoints, like in a relationship. So when you have a relationship, you have the one, that is a relationship, but when it gets divided into two incompatible viewpoints, you got a me. You got me, my value, my viewpoint, what I want to do, and you got the other me, which is my viewpoint and what I want to do. And each one sees the world from their location. This light would keep flicking off. Each one sees the world from its location, but they are one situation, one relationship. So you got the one relationship into two. This is marriages start off as one. Romantic love is one. I see my hands are doing this. Romantic relationships, you experience the other as yourself. That's one. But then with time, it splits into two. The me, and me. Now you got two me's. But in the relationship, there can only be one me. Even God said that, in the Bible, let there be one, let there be one God, not two, not five, not many. God is one. Now, everybody runs around holding up their finger. That's me, right? When people do this, basically, I'm saying me. I'm number one. Or if I'm in a group, we number one, right? And there, doop, there, So anyway, we're getting into this mime. And so what today's Civil War? I really, I live in here in Virginia, where the most of the Civil War was fought, and many of the battlefields are here in Virginia. The beginning and the last. It began and ended here in Virginia. And I don't know if they still are, but Civil War reenactments were very popular here because there were so many battles to fight. And these battles were fought, reenacted passionately, as if they could make the Civil War come out differently, But anyway, so instead of many balls, the air filled with a hail of many balls, today's Civil War, the air is filled with a hail of memes. Everybody's throwing memes at each other. And they get real nasty. And they're all irrational. A meme is a political mini ball. But it has a viewpoint. And its design is like commercials. It's designed to make your viewpoint number one. So you put down the other guy, you're number one. So basically, a meme is a political mini ball designed to kill the other in a civil war. So you don't have memes about Hitler, or Stalin or something. Of course, there were propaganda posters, but the country itself doesn't hurl memes at each other when it fights an external enemy. When you fight an external enemy, the country unites again. Just like the original, You're back to the whole country says number one. We beat Hitler with one hand and we beat Tojo with the other. We're number one. But a civil war is a division of a country into two, and there's no end to that. And this is the problem that Arjuna had. I don't know if I should get into that just briefly. In the Bhagavad Gita, he was faced with a civil war. His country had been divided into two viewpoints, and his teachers and friends and family are on one side, and family and friends and teachers on the other side. Just like today, a family can have a Trumper on one side and a Biden and a liberal on the other. And at the dinner table, I'm sure they go like, wow, 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 you see. So what's going on today is that we have a civil war, but it's no longer of location specifically, where you have Republicans dressed in uniforms and living in one location, and liberals dressed in other uniforms and living in another location, like that, a regional civil war, although it may look like that when you start looking at the red and blue. But we all go shopping at Walmart together. Somebody in my local friends can hurl a meme at me, and then the next day I'm in Walmart. How you doing? So we're living in a psychological civil war, as if the mind. See, back in the Civil War, there was a different. We can't understand the Civil War because consciousness was different then. Consciousness was grounded in the earth. Everybody worked on the farm. It was a grounded culture. And and it was very simple. Everything was very manual, very simple. You only had kitchen appliances were very simple. There was everything. You had one tool for basic. A knife would do everything. Now you got 20 things that will do what the one knife will do. So it's been fragmented, you see. So the simple consciousness, the consciousness is grounded in lead, so to speak, has now evolved into a mental reality that has cut the ropes or the tether to the ground. So the ground of America is like shopping. All the shopping malls are the same. So if you go to a shopping mall or go to a Walmart in Tennessee and you go to one in New York, if they have them there, or Ohio, it's the same Walmart. In other words, the ground of America that we live in every day, the towns, the churches, everything is all the same. But our mental reality of values has lifted up, you see, and there's a big separation between the mental reality and the ground of reality that remains the same. And that's why it's so particularly full of anxiety today, because we go on the internet or social media or watch the news. This is an electronic world. We live primarily, our values are in an electronic world, a mental world, you see, that is supported by media, pop culture. You go to the city and the buildings that used to be buildings are now billboards. In other words, everything is the physical world now is a reflection of this mental world, and the mental world is divided into ideologies, civil war. So America has gone mental and divides itself into ideologies, which are mental, while at the same time we're all shopping at the same Walmart down here. Now that's insanity. That's a catch-22. That's a collective neurosis in a way, or a collective schizophrenia, where the mind is divided into two minds, while the body remains, all the bodies are still dressed the same and going to the same movies. In other words, you're having a war with a Trumper or a liberal in the mental civil war, and then you go to the restaurant and have dinner with them in the same room. Nobody, if a liberal comes into a restaurant in the South, if he had liberal written on him, would everybody get up and walk out? You see, so it's kind of crazy now. So the mini balls have become mime balls, memes. We're just throwing memes at each other in a fury. It gets furious to the point where some people get guns and go shoot up the federal building. Some get guns and go do a mass shooting, In other words, there are a few who snap because of this catch-22, because of this civil war that has no end, that's not real. It's not real. If it were real, then we would be fighting in the streets. Some people say, bring it on. We want to do that. Let's get it over with. Let's hurry up and get the rapture, you see. Can't stand the fury anymore. Anyway, thanks for dropping in. Don't get hit by a mini ball.